Everybody ready online? Go ahead and call the meeting to order. Go ahead and call this meeting to order for the Maricopa County Board of Adjustment for January 15th, 2026. Rosalie, if you'd please do the roll call.
Chairman Loper,
Present.
Vice Chairperson,
Present.
Member Baugh,
Present.
Member Clapp,
Present.
Member Ward.
Present.
Chairman, we have a quorum.
Thank you very much. I'll go ahead and do the announcements. Please, everybody, bear with me. Allergies are kicking my back end this morning. This meeting has been noticed in accordance with the open meeting laws of ARS 38-431. Agendas are available within 24 hours of each meeting in the Maricopa County Planning and Development Office and are also available on the Planning and Development website 1 week prior to the hearing at www.maricopa.gov/planning. With respect to the hearing process, cases will be considered in the order they appear on the agenda unless otherwise agreed to by the board. For each case, the applicant will be given a set amount of time to present their testimony. Any witness wishing to give testimony in a particular case shall notify the board of such interest. This shall be done by filling out a speaker's card if you're here in person. Speaker request cards are on the podium if you're here in person, or registering a desire to comment on the published agenda. If you're here if you're online, there's a way to do that as well. At the appropriate time for each case, the chair will ask those attending in person or online who wish to speak to a case to raise their hand by clicking on the icon on the webinar screen. Staff will provide the chair with the names of the persons who have registered and noted a desire to comment on those registered participants who have raised their hand. The chair will call on each named participant one at a time. Such testimony shall be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes. However, the actual amount of time allowed for such testimony shall be at the discretion of the board chair. The chair will conduct the hybrid in-person and virtual public hearing according to the bylaws and according to the rules established by the chair regarding public comment. Votes will be done by roll call vote only. The chair will verbally identify the specific members responsible for all motions and seconds. We will move on to the election of officers. As I mentioned a year ago, I have been the chair for, nearly a decade, and my time has come to an end. And I have, as I mentioned a year ago, have offered to move on to allow others to do that. And in talking to the vice chair, Person, and to other members of the board, would like to therefore nominate Vice Chair Person to be the new chair and to board member Clapp to be the vice chair. And those are my nominations. And with that in mind, I would look for a second for that. Come on.
I would like to second that.
Fern, there's a second by member Ward.
Yes.
Rosalie, if you'd please do a roll call.
Member Baugh,
Aye.
Member Clapp,
Yes.
Member Ward,
Yes.
Vice Chairperson,
Yes.
Chairman Loper.
Yes.
Chairman, we have a motion electing Member Person to be chair and the motion for Member Clapp to be vice chair by a vote of 5-0.
Thank you, everyone, and please no tears or applause. But I would really like to thank everybody. You guys are phenomenal. You made this so unbelievably easy. Darren, I've known you for the bulk of my life. We go back to our college days, which was just a few years ago for both of us. But you and everybody else have made this remarkably easy. Nadia and David and everybody on the IT team, going back to those years when the pandemic, unbelievably easy. Rosalie, Rachel, especially, both of you, unbelievably easy. Thank you very much. Do I turn this over now to Heather? Or because she's
She'll be
online?
leaving early today.
Well,
so-
I have to leave early today.
So I'll
Yeah,
just
it
continue
might be
if
good
that's
if.
okay? Do I just continue
Yes.
then through the day or, okay, I'll
Unless
just-
you turn it over to
or give it over to Member
Suzanne.
Clapp? I'll just go with today. Okay. All right, we'll go to the approval of the minutes for December 11th, 2025. Anybody have any comments? Seeing none, those are considered approved. We'll move on to the approval of the amended bylaws. Everybody had an opportunity to review those?
Yeah.
Any changes or comments? Seeing none, those are considered approved, right? Good deal. Max, did you have any comments? Oh, okay. Um, Okay. Rosalie, would you please take roll call on the amendments to the bylaws?
Mr. Chair, we need a motion.
Oh, a motion. See, I've already forgotten.
Yeah.
Looking for a motion to approve the bylaws, please.
Motion to
Member
approve.
Ward? Member
Second.
Ward? Oh, we have a motion. Who did the motion? Member Baugh?
Baugh.
We have a motion for approval by Member Baugh and a second by Member Ward. Rosalie?
Member Baugh.
Yes, I made the motion. I think Fern made the second.
Thank you. Vice Chair Clapp.
Yes.
Member Ward.
Yes.
Member Loper.
Yes.
Chairperson.
Yes.
Chair, we have a motion to approve the bylaws by a vote of 5-0.
All right, those are approved. We'll move on to agenda item number 1, BA250067. This is the 223 Saddle Mountain LLC property in District 3. Daniel?
Good morning, Chairman Loper, members of the board. Case BA 250067, located at 223 West Saddle Mountain Road in the Desert Hills area, is a proposal for a front yard setback of 42 feet total, where 80 is the minimum permitted per Maricopa County Zoning Article 503.4.1.a and Article 1105.2. The site is approximately 1 acre in size and zoned RU 43. The applicant is proposing to reduce the 40-foot front yard setback to maintain development of a primary residence outside the floodplain that encumbers the southern portion of the parcel. The primary residence is proposed to be set back 2 feet from the 40-foot ingress, egress, and public utilities easement identified as Saddle Mountain Road, where an additional 40-foot setback would be required for a total of 80 feet from the northern property line. The parcel is significantly encumbered by floodplain and floodway delineations present along the southern 137 feet of the parcel, together with a significant midsection line setback required at the north that requiring the total of 80 foot from the northern property line. These conditions together are an obstacle for reasonable development of the lot. The building permit has unsuccessfully gone through 5 review cycles in attempts to accommodate the required setback and maintain the appropriate drainage conditions. However, the applicant has not exhausted all administrative remedies to reduce the midsection line reservation with McDOT, currently in process at the moment. Staff is also concerned that a 2-foot setback from a future collector route would present a public safety concern. The only other property at the southwest corner of Saddle Mountain Road and Central Avenue has obtained a reduction in the additional setback for Saddle Mountain from 40 feet to 25 feet. If the area reserved for future right-of-way were to be reduced, it's likely the floodplain and floodway at the southern end of the parcel would still require an adjusted variance reduction in the front yard setback to reasonably accommodate the single-family residence. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Daniel. Great overview. Are there any questions of Daniel or other staff from any of the board members? All right, seeing none, I'll go ahead and open up the public hearing. Is the applicant or applicant's representative in attendance in the audience? Do we have them online?
I don't have anybody indicating that they'd like to speak, but I do have a caller, a Bertha McDaniel and a Cutter Zog online. I'm sorry, Cutter? Okay. So let me go ahead and unmute him.
Cutter, if you could go ahead and give your name for the record and go ahead with your presentation, please.
David, I requested to unmute. Can you see if it went through on your end, please?
It looks like they don't have a microphone enabled. So I don't know how they're going to talk through the webinar.
David, this is Darren. They can call my phone at 602-723-2241, and I'll put them on speaker. That's 602-723-2241. Can you hear me? I'm going to put you on speaker. One second. Okay, sir, you're on speaker. Go ahead.
Thank you. I apologize about that technical difficulty there. Yeah, my name is Cutter Zog. I'm the civil engineer on the project, the application for this variance. Thank you, Daniel, for explaining the situation. After going through this with the reviewers multiple times, they are in agreement that this is the best solution for the lot in order to alleviate this difficult hardship on the lot from this wash. It's approximately 1,200 CFS coming in on this south boundary line, which makes over half of the property essentially unusable due to financial hardships of the expense to get it to work and without increasing or adversely impacting adjacent properties due to the increase of fill. So the intent is to move this house as far away as possible so that we don't adversely impact adjacent properties and can still build on the property.
Okay, Cutter, are there any other comments that you wish to make at this time?
The only other comment would be this option was recommended by the reviewers. We had multiple meetings and all three reviewers recommended that this would be the best solution.
Okay. Are there any questions of any of the board members of the applicant's representative? I do have one. It was mentioned that you are seeking, I believe it's a waiver through McDOT, a reduction through McDOT. Where are you in that process?
The client was going through that process. He hasn't informed me on any solutions or any whether or not it was approved or not at this time. So I don't think he's heard back yet. I can try to get that information after this meeting and then shoot Daniel an email and discuss it with him.
Okay. And if you got that, that would just secure that much more distance, but it wouldn't functionally move the building or anything else. It'd just be a dimensional relief, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. All right, thank you. Any other questions by anybody that spur anything? All right, thank you. Hold tight. We may have other questions. As I mentioned, this is a public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience who has any questions on this case? Anyone else online?
No one else online.
No one else online? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing. Turn this back over to the board for discussion and or a motion. This is in District 3.
Member Loper, I'll make a motion that we approve case BA 250067, subject to the language outlined in the staff report.
Thank you. We have a motion for approval by chairperson for BA 250067. I would offer a second to that motion.
I second the motion.
Oh, I'm sorry, Darren.
Mr. Chair, we think there may be someone online that has a comment. No?
Oh,
sorry.
no, okay. All right, never mind on that. Rosalie, go ahead. We have a motion and a by,
Member Bach,
Aye.
Mo- Sorry, motion by Person, second by Ball.
second by
Right.
me.
Vice Chair Clapp,
Yes.
Member Ward,
Yes.
Chairperson,
Yes.
and Acting Chair Loper.
Yes.
Chair, we have a motion for an approval by a vote of 5-0.
Thank you. Congratulations. Keeping all these titles straight. Move on to agenda item number 2, BA 250071, the Stevens residence in District 3. Isaac or Ron?
Good morning,
Go right ahead.
Acting Chair and Board. Filling in for Isaac as he's out. This is a request. It is agenda item number 2, BA 250071 for the Stevens residence. The request is for the development, a variance to the development standards of the zoning ordinance for proposed street side setback of 15 feet where 20 feet is the minimum permitted, and for a proposed rear setback of 30 feet where 40 feet is the minimum permitted. The property is located at 49450 North 15th Avenue in the New River area and is zoned rural 43. The lot is currently 78,147 square feet. The applicant is requesting these 2 variance approvals to recognize and authorize the encroachments that resulted from construction of a covered patio back sometime around 2017 or 2018, and these were constructed without permit approvals. The residence was originally constructed in 1988 without the patio coverings. These more recent additions occurred prior to the current ownership or the actions of the previous owner. The applicant is proposing to construct an addition on the south side of the existing residence that will not encroach into any setbacks and will not require any variances. The approvals that you're considering would simply grant the existing encroachments that have already occurred on the north and west sides. The applicant desires to move forward with construction on the south side without these encroachments hindering that process. Based upon the applicant's submittal and staff analysis, staff was unable to identify a particular condition of the property that rendered the existing covered patio additions as unavoidable or necessary when constructed. The site is not constrained by any physical features that affect the construction of these coverings, and the applicant has failed to demonstrate the general intent of the zoning ordinance will be preserved by the approval of these variances. However, if the board decides and finds that the applicant has satisfied the statutory test, staff is recommending the board consider notation A, paragraph 16, which states that the variance approval establishes 15 feet north street side and a 30-foot rear setback for the subject property described as APN 202-25-021E. Mr. Moser, the applicant, is in attendance. We did include 6 letters of no opposition from nearby property owners as a part of this application. And other than that, that concludes my presentation. Be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ron. Good job pinch hitting. Are there any questions of Ron or other staff members by any of the board?
I have a
Chairperson.
question.
Yes.
Thank you, Ron. Am I correct that only the existing residence is requiring the variances? The new addition is not going into the setbacks, but they're requesting the variance because they're anticipating a comment during plan review?
Acting Chair and Board, that's correct. The coverings that were constructed without building permits back in the 2017, 2018 are the only parts of the structure that encroach. The proposed addition would not encroach into any setbacks.
Thank you.
Any other questions of Ron or other staff persons? All right, seeing none, I'll open the public hearing. Mr. Mosier, I do see you filled out a speaker request card. If you would come up to the podium, just provide your name, please, for the record.
Rural Mosier.
Go ahead.
I don't have anything really additional to say. Isaac did a pretty good job putting all this together for us. I just wanted to make sure that you did have the letters that Mr. Stevens did get from his neighbors of okay, and that what is existing is not going to be changing. We're just getting the variance to move forward with the proposed addition.
Definitely understood. Appreciate you to make things correct. Also understood that a lot of it happened prior to your ownership of it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
Are
you.
there any questions of the applicant by any of the board members? All right, this is a public hearing. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak on this item? Nadia, or David, do we have anyone online?
No one online indicating they'd like to speak.
All right, go ahead and close the public hearing. Turn it back to the board. This is in District 3. Entertain a motion. Discussion and or a motion.
Acting Chair Loper, I don't have any issues with this considering that it was a prior condition. The owner is trying to get everything memorialized through this process and the new addition doesn't exacerbate the issue. So I move that we approve case BA 250071 subject to the language outlined in the staff report.
Second.
We have a motion for approval by Chairperson and a second by Vice Chair Clapp. Rosalie?
Member Baugh,
Yes.
Vice Chair Clapp,
Yes.
Member Ward,
Yes.
Chairperson,
Yes.
Acting Chair Loper.
Yes.
Chair, we have a motion for an approval by a vote of 5-0.
Thank you. Congratulations. Move on to agenda item number 3, BA 250073, the Prieto property, lot 4 in District 4. Nick?
Thank you, Acting Chair Loper, members of the board. Just as a heads up, I will be presenting these next 3 variances simultaneously, but each one will require a separate motion.
Absolutely. Go right ahead.
Thank you. Cases BA 250073, 74, and 75 are requests to establish an area of less than 43,560 square feet and a width of 132 feet on each of 3 properties owned by Sonia and Martin Prieto, where 43,560 square feet and 145 feet, respectively, are the minimums required in the Rural 43 zoning district. The 3 properties were created by a lot split alongside 2 other parcels, both of which are similarly substandard in width and area. The applicant owns 4 of these 5 parcels. Staff reminds the board that the applicant was granted variance for the southernmost of these parcels last year for case BA 250001. As previously discussed at the hearing of that case, the record of survey labeled each of the prospective lot split parcels as measuring 1.00 acres. However, this was misleading as each parcel actually measured slightly less than the minimum required 43,560 square feet. The applicant originally owned all 5 parcels, but by the time the error was realized, the middle lot had been sold to another owner. Before the board's determination of the request for that southernmost parcel, staff recommended the applicant negotiate with the other owner regarding the possibility of acquiring more land within the lot split area. That way, the parcels could be re-recorded to meet area and width requirements. However, the applicant informed staff that the other owner refused to discuss or negotiate any such options. The board did approve the applicant's variance request for her southernmost parcel in May 2025. The three requests before you today for the remaining three parcels owned by the applicant and are near identical to the request approved with BA 25-0001. As with that case, staff is unable to identify an undue hardship created by the enforcement of the zoning ordinance. The substandard lots were avoidable, having been created in a line of title due to poor lot splitting practice. There is a wash that could potentially impact the location of future construction on these properties, particularly the northernmost parcel subject to BA 25-0075. However, no site plans have been submitted illustrating proposed development, and the owners have not requested setback variances for any of these properties. Without a site plan showing proposed development, staff cannot speculate an appropriate setback variance from any lot line should the board approve any of these requests. Aside from the wash, none of the three parcels appears to possess any other conditions that may be considered peculiar. That said, if the board finds the applicant has satisfied the statutory test for each request and has stated its findings on the record, the granting of these variances will memorialize items A and B as outlined in paragraph 22 of each staff report. Staff reminds the board that each variance case must be subject to a separate motion.
Thank you, Nick. Great overview. And I do recall some discussion about that particular variance at that time and the possibility of going back and speaking to the surveyor about correcting the numerical error and the math. Anyway, it's unfortunate they didn't have that recourse, but it is what it is. So are there any other comments or questions of Nick or other staff members or any of the board members at this time? All right, seeing none, I'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Is the applicant or applicant's representative in attendance? If you could please come up to the podium and just provide your name for the record, and if you'd like to offer any comments to the board.
Hi, good morning. My name is Sonia Prieto. I don't have any questions.
Okay. All right, are there any questions of or comments by any of the board members? See none, if you could hold tight, we may have questions of you. I do remember your comments from a year ago, roughly. So this is a public hearing. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak on this item? Do we have anyone online?
No one online.
No one online. I'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Turn this back over to the board for discussion and or a motion. This is in District 4, so I will go ahead and make the motion for item number 3, BA 250073. As with the one for last year, this is unfortunate that, again, due to statutory restrictions, if I can say it correctly, there's not the ability for the county to step in ahead of time to try to regulate these. And there's not really a recourse for an unsuspecting property owner to try to correct these when there's an error made by the surveyor. It's not her fault for this. So I recommend approval, or I move that that BA 250073 be approved.
Second.
Rosalie, we have motion by me for approval, second by Member Ward.
Member Baugh,
Yes.
Vice Chair Clapp,
Yes.
Member Ward,
Yes.
Chairperson,
Yes.
Acting Chair Loper.
Yes.
Chairman, we have a motion for an approval by a vote of 5-0.
Moving on to BA 250074, Prieto Property Lot 2. I would also move for approval of that as well.
Second.
I move for approval. Member Clapp seconded that. Rosalie?
Member Baugh,
Yes.
Vice Chair Clapp,
Yes.
Member Ward,
Yes.
Chairperson,
Yes.
Acting Chair Loper.
Yes.
Chair, we have a motion for an approval by a vote of 5-0.
And finally, on agenda item number 5, BA 250075, Prieto Property Lot 1, I move to also approve that one. I just wanted to add a little drama there. So
Second.
motion and a second.
Member Baugh,
Yes.
Vice Chair Clapp,
Yes.
Member Ward,
Yes.
Chairperson,
Yes.
Acting Chair Loper.
Yes.
Chair, we have a motion for an approval by a vote of 5-0.
Congratulations. Sorry you had to go through all this process over a year-plus period, but we appreciate your patience. And thank you for doing it the correct way.
Thank you guys for approving it.
Have a good day.
You too.
Move on to agenda item number 6, BA 250077, the Amarillo property in District 2. Nick, back to you.
Thank you, Acting Chair Loper. Case BA 250077 is a request to establish a west street side setback of 3 feet and an east street side setback of 10 feet, both as measured from the street line on the Amarillo property, where 20 feet is the minimum required in the Rural 43 zoning district. A single-family residence was developed on site in 2004. Now the owner is proposing to build a detached accessory dwelling unit toward the west side of the property and a swimming pool with a ramada toward the east side of the property. Though the property is generally typical for the Rio Verde foothills, perhaps its least typical characteristic is that it features a street frontage along 3 of its 4 lot lines. The north lot line along Casey Lane is the shortest, making it the front. The west and east lot lines with frontage along 138th Way and 139th Street respectively are the street sides. If not for the street side easements, the proposed improvements would be allowed by right where proposed, since detached accessory improvements can be located within interior side yards. However, it's worth noting that the ADU would include an RV garage that would connect to the main driveway, which itself connects to the street along the west, meaning that the intended location for the ADU is tied directly to the west being a street side. Assuming the property owners proceed with a proposed swimming pool, there does not appear to be a feasible alternative location for the detached ADU that does not encroach on the existing west setback, on a wash that bisects the property, and or within 3 feet of the primary residence. The only alternative besides variance would be to attach the ADU to the residence. However, this would require extensive remodeling as well as relocating AC units and electrical panels located on the west side of the house. On the other hand, if the pool were to be abandoned, the ADU could be reoriented toward the east with driveway access to the street versus sharing a driveway with 38th Way. CZO allows one driveway to the street. Did you catch that? Regardless, staff notes the development of a primary residence means that the property already fulfills the general intent and purpose of the MCZO. Variances to accommodate accessory uses arguably do not fulfill this requirement. As for the poolside ramada, based on review of the site plan and site aerials, it seems the ramada could be relocated 10 feet further west to prevent need for a variance to the east side setback. Nevertheless, if the board finds the applicant has satisfied the statutory test and has stated its findings on the record, the grant of this variance will memorialize item A. Variance approval establishes a 3-foot west street side setback line as measured from the street line for APN 219-39-241B. And item B, variance approval establishes a 10-foot east street side setback line as measured from the street line for APN 219-39-241B. At this time, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Nick. Great overview. I did have a question before I turn it over to any of the board members. You'd mentioned earlier that they would negate the variance request if they were able to attach it. I understand about the electrical service and stuff, but was that what you'd mentioned earlier? That was correct?
Acting Chair Loper, based on my analysis of the site plan, it did seem if they were to keep the dimensions of the ADU and the RV garage about the same and shift it to such that it were to be attached to the residence, it would be outside the existing 20-foot street side setback. But again, that would require extensive remodeling on the owner's part.
Right, definitely understood that. All right, thank you very much. Any other questions of Nick or other staff at this time? Member Baugh.
If they didn't have the streets on the 139th side and 138th side, what would be the setback on the side yards?
Member Baugh, the setbacks, originally per the previous zoning ordinance, the setbacks for interior side yards were 30 feet. I believe with the updated ordinance, they've been reduced down to 20 feet. But again, with detached accessory structures, if they were interior side yards, they would be allowed in those side yard setbacks as long as they're at least 5 feet or actually 3 feet away from the property line if fire rated.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions by any of the board members of Nick or other staff? All right, seeing none, I'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Is the applicant or applicant's representative in attendance? Mr. Lazarus, if you just give your name for the record, please. And
Certainly. Good morning. My name is Larry Lazarus. I think we have, yeah, we do have some slides. We do have a presentation that we'd like to make. My address is at 206 East Virginia, Phoenix, Arizona. We are representing Brian and Nicole Amaral. This is a request, as you've indicated, and Nick did a great job, and I apologize if I'm repetitious, but I do want to point out a couple things here. To reduce the side yards of the single-family corner lot. In this case, we're reducing the side yard setbacks from 10 feet to 10 feet along the 139th on the eastern property, and we're asking where 20 feet would be required, and 3 feet along the 138th way on the western side of the property, which 20 feet would be required. Slide, please. The property is in the residential subdivision with an average lot of 1 acre. The city of Scottsdale and the McDowell-Sonoran Preserve are on the west. The McDowell Mountain Regional Park is to the south, with the Tonto National Forest to the north and east. Area is zoned RU43. Slide, please. Our client intends to improve the property by adding, as you've indicated, an accessory building, a pool, a ramada to the rear yard, as you can see on this proposed site plan. On the west side of the property, there's a 20-foot private driveway easement with 10 feet of that on the Amaral property and 10 feet on the neighboring property. This is 138th way. On the east side of the property, there's a 20-foot private driveway easement that is entirely on the neighbor's property. Under the county ordinance, these easements are considered streets, and the setbacks must be measured from the easement line. These required setback lines are shown on the plan before you. By way of background, our client reached out to the county staff in late 2024 to get advice on how to proceed with the construction plans, the accessory unit, pool, and ramada, because of the wash on the property restricted the potential locations of these, and he needed to reduce these setbacks to 3 feet and 10 feet, as I've indicated. The direction given our client at the time by staff was that if he recorded a non-vehicular access easement on the property, that this would resolve the issues with the side yard setbacks on the property, and he would no longer need, because it would no longer be street frontage. Our client then drafted and recorded a vehicular non-access easements and subsequently submitted the plan for approval. Staff comments on the site plan stated that even though the vehicular non-access easement were recorded, the property would still need to comply with the side yard setback requirements or obtain a variance, which was different when the staff indicated initially. Our client then contacted the planning manager and confirmed that the information originally supplied to the client was an error, and now he needed to apply for a variance. That's why we're here today. The Maricopa County Ordinance states that the Board of Adjustment may allow a variance from the terms of the ordinance if allowing to peculiar conditions. A strict interpretation would work an unnecessary hardship, and if granting the variance in general, the general intent and the purposes of the zoning ordinance will be preserved. We believe that we meet those requirements. First, let's talk about the wash. If you see on the slide before you, we have a wash that cuts through the southwest corner of the property, significantly reducing the developable area of the property. The wash limits the structures as they can be located on the lot. The proposed accessory building is located as close to the wash as it possibly can and it cannot be moved further south. The structure can also not be moved further east because of the location of the main house. If the ADU were moved closer to the residence, as noted by staff already, it would require extensive remodeling, relocation of the air conditioning units, electrical panels located on the west side. The ramada on the east side of the property is encroaching 10 feet to the side yard setback because of the wash and the location of the pool. The second peculiar condition in this case is that the lot is bounded by streets on 3 sides. As I previously noted, there's 138th Way on the west side, 139th Street on the east, with Casey Lane to the north. Having streets on 3 sides of the property is not typical, as noted by the staff in the item 10 of their report. And this is not the case. If this was not the case, the improvements, we would be able to do the improvements as a matter of right without having to ask for any variances. So let's talk about hardship for a second. We believe that that not granting these variances will cause undue hardship to our client. We have peculiar conditions not created by the property owner. The work is unnecessary, creates this unnecessary hardship. Our client needs to exercise reasonable development rights enjoyed by other property owners. Other properties in the area in the same zoning category have ADUs, pools, and ramadas. Lastly, I want to talk about how the variance meets the intent of the zoning ordinance. Granting the variance would not cause a negative impact on the intent and purpose of the ordinance, because ultimately the required separation between buildings intended by the ordinance is achieved and even exceeded. Let me explain. In this case, there are 2 private drives along the side yards that will help create the building-to-building separation distance intended by the ordinance. With respect to the west side property line, if the variance were approved, we'd have a building setback of 3 feet from the private drive easement of 138th Way. Add that to the 20 feet for the private drive easement, which cannot be built upon, and then add the required setback on the adjacent property, you'd have a total of 43 feet building to building setback. When under normal circumstances without a private drive, you would only have 40-foot building setback from the 2 20-foot required setbacks. Respect to the east side, because the lots on the east side of the property front on 139th Street, a private drive, and the required front lot setback is 40 feet. This is double the 20 feet that would be required if the private drive were not there. If this variance were approved, we would have the 10-foot setback on our client's property, 20 foot of private drive that can't be built upon, and a 40-foot front yard setback on the neighbor's property, which would provide 70 feet of building-to-building separation, when under ordinary circumstances, a total of 40 feet building-to-building would have occurred. Simply put, the intent of the ordinance to provide a building-to-building separation of 40 feet on a side yard. If you approve the variance, we would have a building-to-building separation of 43 feet on the west side, 3 feet more than the intended ordinance, and 70 feet on the east side, which is 30 feet more than the intended ordinance. With that said, we believe we have peculiar conditions. It does work an unnecessary hardship, and the development rights that we're asking for does not, I'm sorry, the variance would meet the intent of the ordinance based upon the parameters that I've given you here today. Thank you very much. I hope that wasn't too confusing.
Not at all. Thank you very much, Mr. Lazarus. Are there any questions of the applicant by any of the board members? Vice Chair Clapp.
Thank you for the additional information. It's very helpful. I was just looking at the site plan and wondering why the staff has recommended that the Ramada could be moved 10 feet to the west and take it out, and there would be no requirement there for a variance. I know that the verbiage says that it can't be moved because of the wash, but it's above a wall. I don't see where the wash really has any impact on whether the Ramada could be moved a little bit to the west. You know, I'm not an architect. I'm just looking at a site plan, and I just was curious as to why it's sitting there rather than aligned with the edge of the pool.
All I can tell you is that the roadway itself provides a substantial amount of, which can't be built upon, provides a substantial amount of setback. And we're talking about 70 feet
Yeah,
Um,
I understand that. I'm just asking
but I,
in the site plan, why the Ramada has to be so far to the east, and why it couldn't be moved a little bit to the west. That's my question. I'm not making this into a yes or no. I'm just curious about that.
I'm not sure I'm architecturally capable of answering that question.
Okay.
Thank you. Are there any other questions of the applicant by any of the board members? All right, we may have additional ones. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your patience.
As I mentioned, this is a public hearing. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak on this item? Do we have anyone online, Nadia?
No one online indicating they'd like
One
to speak.
online, okay, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing. This is in District 2. I'll turn it over to the board for discussion and/or a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve BA 250077, the Emerald property.
We have a motion for approval by Vice Chair Clapp. Is there a second? I will offer a second. Sorry, Fern. Rosalie, when you get an opportunity.
Member Baugh,
Yes.
Vice Chair Clapp,
Yes.
Member Ward,
Yes.
Chairperson,
Yes.
Acting Chair Loper.
Yes,
Chair, we have a motion for an approval by a vote of 5-0.
congratulations. Move on to agenda item number 7, BA 250079, the 479 Cayen Drive variance in District 4. Joel.
Acting Chair Loper, members of the board, agenda item 7 is case BA 2579. It's a variance request for single-family property located at 479 Cajon Drive in Morristown in the Circle City community. It's a request for a variance from the residential development standards to allow for a rear setback of 16 feet, where the minimum required in the R16 zoning district is 25 feet. Next slide. The request is tied to a proposed 13 by 28 attached patio cover, which would encroach about 9 feet into the required rear yard. Applicant's main concern is that the rear yard is south-facing and lacks shade, and they would like an attached cover for usability and comfort. Staff would note that the lack of shade is common in the area and is not unique to this parcel. Staff also notes that a detached shade structure can be placed much closer to the rear and side property lines subject to yard coverage limits, which avoids the need for a variance. Next slide. Staff did not identify a peculiar physical condition unique to this property that is not common to the area or zoning district. The proposed patio cover is an accessory improvement and is not required for the reasonable use of this property. The hardship as described is not tied to the physical characteristics of the lot, and approval will be based primarily on personal convenience rather than the statutory criteria. Staff also notes there are alternative designs available, including detached shade structures, can address these concerns without the requested encroachment. This time, I'm happy to answer your questions.
Thank you, Joel. Great overview. To summarize, they need that extra depth to really make a usable rear cover. Without it, it's just a couple of feet deep.
Madam Chair, Acting Chair Loper, that's correct.
Thank you very much. Are there any other questions of Joel or other staff members by any of the board members? All right, seeing none, I'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Is the applicant or applicant's representative in attendance? Do you have anyone online?
There is a Bertha McDaniel online, but I've tried reaching out and haven't gotten a response. So that's the only other person that we've accounted for who might want to speak on something, but they haven't reached back out.
Okay. Who's doing the next one? The next one's Andrew. I guess we could, I know generally if we don't have an applicant, are we obligated to continue or?
The bylaws say if they're not here, we'll continue the first hearing.
Obligate to. I guess we could skip over this one and go on to the next one and then give maybe Nadia, between you and David, keep trying to reach out and see if they respond. And we'll move on to then BA 250080, which is the Collins Casita variance in District 3. Andrew, you're up.
Thank you, Acting Chair and members of the board. BA 250080 is a request to allow an accessory dwelling unit to occupy 41% of a rear or side yard where 30% is allowed by MCZO. By the MCZO, previously Article 1106.2, now MCZO Article 806.2.1 under the updated ordinance. The parcel is zoned rural 43 and is located in the northeast corner of Central Avenue and Tumbleweed Drive in the Carefree Highway area. The parcel is just under 1 acre at 43,522 square feet and was granted a building permit after an oversight on a submitted building plan showing an incorrect lot size of 42,560 square feet or 1 acre in January of 2021. The applicant proposes to construct a 2,631 square foot structure that would occupy approximately 41% and be located entirely within the rear yard area. The structure is slated to be approximately 9 feet from the rear parcel boundary. Staff finds no remarkable issues or unnecessary hardships with the parcel and any reason why the structure cannot be placed forward to meet the 30% rear yard occupancy requirement. Thank you very much. At this time, I would be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Andrew. Great overview. I do have one question, and I think I already know my answer, but it's just slightly undersized, but not sufficiently so that that would account for the 9% overage for the lot coverage, probably, right?
Acting Chair, correct. The oversight in the size was more of a building permitting issue that all of the correct dimensions were provided. The ultimate final lot size was just incorrectly given, and we permitted the structure as it was. So in our minds, it is a legal buildable lot due to legal nonconforming. We are asking you today to just memorialize that legal nonconforming.
Right, but I mean, so it's 11% bigger, the casita, than what it should be, but there's only really, I'm not good at math, 38 square foot difference in the lot size. That proportionate difference really doesn't make it. What I'm trying to say is the proportionate size really doesn't allow for the difference. There's not a proportionality there that would makes a difference. So never mind. I think I answered my own question there. All right, any questions of the of Andrew or other staff members by any of the board members? All right, seeing none, I'll go ahead and open the public hearing for this. Is that applicant in attendance?
Yes, Chairman. We have Shandor Collins, and his mic should be enabled now.
All right, if that person go ahead and identify themselves for the record and go ahead with your presentation on this variance, please.
Acting Chair, I have them unmuted. Looks like their mic is enabled, but for some reason we're not hearing them. Should be working. They might have if they're connected with a phone or something, they might have that muted also.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay,
you could just
sorry.
provide your name, please, and then go ahead with your presentation.
My name is Shandor Collins. I'm the homeowner in this the variance. I'm new to this, so forgive me. I'm not like a professional or anything like that. I'm just a simple homeowner. The reason I'm requesting this variance is because my parents I'm relocating my parents from Washington State down to Phoenix. This will be the first time that I've lived close to my parents, and since I left home when I was 17. My mom currently has advanced dementia right now, and so I really would like to the reason that the size of the casita is a little bit bigger is to accommodate the fact that she has a walker to get around, and so we have things like oversized bathrooms, oversized general living space, and then also it has a secondary bedroom for family to come and stay with us, additional family to come and stay with us as well, to be able to see them. I do realize that the variance is a little bit over what would normally be allowed, but it does not impact any of my existing neighbors who are all for it, and hopefully will allow us to enjoy holidays and stuff that we haven't been able to spend with each other in years together, while my parents kind of like are in their twilight years. So I'm just asking for some lenience from the board in regards to that, and hopefully that gets approved.
Understood. Thank you very much. A question real quick. Does it make any difference? Probably not, and I should know this, that if it's an ADU versus just an accessory structure? It's the same, right? Lot
you're not
coverage
asking me
or
that, right?
setbacks?
It's just aggregate area under roof, whether it's total lot coverage for the property or required yard coverage, it's just aggregate area under roof.
Aggregate. Okay, thank you. Sorry, Mr. Collins, I was asking that question of staff. I should have let you know that. Yeah.
Acting Chair, I should say that the calculation is different. We allow for 2 foot of eave overhang on a primary structure not to count towards coverage, and 1 foot eave overhang on an accessory structure. But in general, it's aggregate area under roof, whether it's required yard coverage or total lot coverage.
Okay, all right, thank you. Anything else to add, Mr. Collins?
No, I know that I think the suggestion was that we move the property or move that unit further closer to the house. At some point, we would like to hopefully possibly add a pool. And as you can see from the drawings, that there's a septic field and some other stuff that it would impact if we had to shift the structure. So I don't know if that makes any difference or not, but I just wanted to bring that up.
Right. All right, thank you. Are there any questions of the applicant by any of the board members?
I have a question for staff, just to make sure I'm understanding this. Is the only variance being requested the square footage size of the rear structure?
Yes, that's the only variance request. As part of the variance, we're memorializing a LNC condition, but that's not a variance request.
Yeah. So the 41% becomes the new lot coverage for the property if this variance was approved?
It, Mr. Acting Chair, Member Baugh, the 41% becomes the maximum yard coverage for the rear yard. The lot coverage still remains 25% max.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you. Any other questions of Andrew, Darren, or other staff, or of the applicant? All right, this is a public hearing. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak on this item? No one else in attendance? Anyone else online?
No one else online.
No one else online. I'll go ahead and close the public hearing. This is in District 3. I noticed that Chairperson had to leave. I will mention that I don't have an issue with this. I think that for all of us, personal comment, the ability to have our parents close and be able to care for them is something we should all try to achieve. It's a personal comment. It's not a land use comment. It's just something in society we should all try to do. God bless the applicant. I'm going to go ahead and make a motion that we approve this variance. Seeking a second.
Second.
We have a motion for approval by me and a second by Member Ward. Rosalie?
Member Baugh,
Yes.
Vice Chair Clapp,
Yes.
Member Ward,
Yes.
Acting Chair Loper.
Yes.
Chair, we have a motion for an approval by a vote of 4-0.
Congratulations, best of luck to you, and God bless. We'll move back real quick to BA 250079. Were we able to find if we have an applicant for that?
Acting Chair, no, unfortunately, we haven't.
Okay. Do we need to make a motion then to formally move this to the next agenda?
Mr. Chair, yes.
All right. It's District 4. I would move that we move BA 250079 to the next agenda, whatever that date is.
Second.
Who seconded that? Member Clapp? Rosalie?
Member Baugh,
Yes.
Vice Chair Clapp,
Yes.
Member Ward,
Yes.
Acting Chair Loper.
Yes.
Chair, we have a motion for continuance by a vote of 4-0.
Thank you. That's the last on our agenda. As always, thank you to Protective Services for all that you do. Wish you guys would sit, always sit, or at least sit more, and appreciate everything you do. Thanks to everyone. Have a great day. Seacrest out.